What's up, everybody? Welcome to Jocast. I'm Josie here, and today I'm bringing you another movie review. The movie I'm reviewing today is Lego Ninjago, which I saw yesterday. I took my daughter to see it, in fact, and she was asleep throughout like half of it. So it was like I went by myself, which is kind of like the thing with her. She tends to fall asleep inside the movie theater, which is fine because she still doesn't have to pay for a ticket, so it's not like I'm wasting money. But anyway, so this movie, Lego Ninjago, is basically about these five group of ninjas. But it mostly follows the storyline of one, the Green Ninja, Lloyd Garmadon, who's actually the son of an evil warlord, or this basically the villain. He's the villain's son, or I guess alienated son, as in he kind of abandoned him when he was born and whatnot. And basically, this kid, he's shunned in school because everybody knows he's related to him, and basically everyone avoids him like the plague, except his group of friends who are secretly the ninjas. And basically, Garmadon, he comes to destroy Ninjago, and he's trying to take over this city, and he keeps coming over and over, and the ninjas always stop him. But they never defeat him, and that's kind of like the point because they feel like because of his daddy issues, he can't really defeat him. He just kind of avoids the final confrontation in a way and just lets him get away. Um, so and basically, this whole movie is about him him facing his daddy issues and actually finding the power within and all that stuff. It's like a very basic like classic martial arts sort of thing where you got the underdog who needs to believe in himself, in order to conquer evil sort of thing. But it's like fused in with like daddy issues, and it makes for a pretty cool story. Now, uh, it's important to note that this being a Lego movie, you'd expect it to be funny like the first, like the Lego movie and like Lego Batman, because those were really funny movies. This movie, I think it follows that kind of, but it's not as funny as the other two, um, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not. I'm not like dismissing this movie at all because I actually really enjoyed this movie. I loved it, in fact. But I could see that it's not as funny as the other two. It's like, you had Lego Batman, with all these jokes coming in like 100 miles per hour, and same thing with the Lego movie. This one it's a little more contained, not as crazy. The jokes are there, but there aren't as many, and maybe they're not as funny. They're still funny, but there's nothing that it's gonna make you like laugh out loud. But you'll be chuckling throughout the whole movie, so it's not boring and it is funny. Um, the one thing about this movie, though, and the reason I think I loved it so much is that I feel this has more heart to it than the Lego movie and Lego Batman, where I think Lego Batman kind of had this whole him coming to terms with being an adopted dad now, you know um him having to kind of work together with other people because he's been such a loner his whole life. Um, and that's kind of like the heart of the Lego Batman movie. But in this one, it's a little more. I guess it's more universal because it's something anyone could really relate to it, or not anyone, but a lot of people can, especially those who have like an alienated father, or a parent that you never got to meet, or who kind of walked out on you and stuff like that. It hits you when it hits those people with like daddy issues, I guess. So yeah, like there was two specific scenes in this movie that honestly, like I'm not even exaggerating, that they made me tear up, and I was crying for like two of these scenes. The first one was when you get the backstory, because due to these series of events, Garmadon and the group of ninjas are kind of like stuck together, and they're like they're not working together in a sense, but they have like a common goal, so they're in the same vicinity and they're interacting and stuff like that. And basically, um, you learn the backstory. They show you the backstory of Garmadon, and how he met Lloyd's mom, and how they fell in love and all that stuff, and why he eventually like walked out on them. And that scene was very emotional to me, and it made me tear up. I think more than it should have. And I feel like it's not gonna make everyone tear up, or maybe some people just will just find it like cliche or sort of or something like that, or might not understand, or it might not hit them as hard. But for me, it kind of did, especially for me, or for me and people like me who kind of had uh who, without getting into specifics, I kind of had like some custody issues with my daughter and her mother. So for me, that whole scene and that whole I guess the whole concept and the whole I forget, I can't, I'm blanking on the word, but the whole idea of having to walk out on your family or not being there even if you want to and stuff like that. So that kind of hit me hard, and it made me emotional. And then there's another scene towards the end where again, so you got the stuff with Garmadon and his backstory, and then in the end you get another thing about Lloyd and how him wanting to wishing he had a father figure and all that. And again, I could go back to me because my father wasn't involved in my life either. So then that made me emotional again. So these two things, the emotional stuff with my father, and then coupled that with the the emotional aspect of being stuck in a custody battle and all that stuff. It kind of affected me a lot. So well, I don't think this movie's as funny as the other Lego movies. I think it has more heart to it, and it's something more relatable. And I don't know. I guess my mind frame is that just because of my experiences, so it's hard to put myself in another mindset or how someone else might view this. I haven't talked to anyone else who's seen this movie, so I don't know what anyone else's opinions are, or if it hits anyone else that way. But I think for me it does, and that's why this movie I love this movie a lot, and I think it's probably one of my favorite movies this year, just because the way they handled that subject matter, I think, was great. Now, aside from that, this isn't a kids movie. This is an action film, and it's a comedy. So, like I said, the comedy it's funny, but it's not as funny as the other two. The action, um, this is where I'm a bit torn, just because when it first starts, there's just the whole first sequence of Garmadon invading Ninjago for the first time. Um, it's pretty amazing because they got like these the camera angles, the way everything's shot, and I will say about this the thing about these Lego movies, and part of the reason that I'm very interested in having a whole bunch of these movies to watch is because I think the animation in these movies are amazing. Like it's just jaw dropping to me. Like if you go back to the Lego Batman movie, that whole opening airplane sequence, the lighting, the mood, and the ambience of like Gotham, I think it's amazing, and it's in a Lego movie, and this movie has some of that as well. It's a more brighter in the middle of the day, but the way the city looks and the way that the angles and everything looks, you have these mechs coming to destroy the city. And even though they're Legos and the size of the Legos are like little toys, but they make them they make the scale look really huge. The way it's shot, the way the stuff moves. They have these big robots and they move like in a way where they feel heavy. They feel like if they were made of actual like metal or an iron and stuff. So they feel heavy the way they move, and all that stuff is amazing. I love that about all these movies, but this one specifically. Uh, my problem was when you had this opening sequence. It was this very like epic moment, but the music was very like kid friendly, lighthearted, and it's a bit jarring to be honest. I felt like I don't know. It feels like it feels like redundant for me to ask this of this movie, just because I got to think this is made for kids. It's not made for a grown adult. But I don't know. Part of me wants them to take it like serious for a moment, just because everything just looks so epic. But the music kind of takes away from the, I guess, from the, um, for making you feel like an actual threat, and that's kind of like a problem. But again, you have to keep in mind this is for kids, so I'm probably not gonna get that anytime soon. But other than that, it's very nice to look at. There's also a few. Probably one of my favorite action scenes was just a single hand-to-hand combat between I think Master Wu and Garmadon, and that's amazing just because they are little Lego figures and they're doing kung fu, and that's pretty great. And unfortunately, there was only that one scene. I wish there was more of the hand-to-hand combat. And um, the whole sequence with them riding the big mechs and fighting the Garmadon troops. Um, while it looks really epic and it does look really good, I wish they would just like focus on one of them for a bit because you have the five ninjas, so there's five different mechs going around. And I wish they would just like slow down and then just show me what one of them is doing for a while, just because it does look so good. But then that's a nitpick. So basically, my main problem with this movie is that they're showing me something really epic, and I just want to see more of it. Which is, I guess, that's a good thing. So other than that, I think this movie's great. I think it's good for kids. Everyone's gonna like it, and it does have a good message. Besides the father stuff, it's a very, like I said, kind of classic kung fu trope where the weapon you need to defeat evil, or the thing you need, it's within you. You just got to believe in yourself and all that stuff. And it's a cliched message, but it works really well, and especially in this movie because it's that coupled with the daddy issues and all that stuff, and the way it gels together, it makes for a very strong message. And it's something that I think kids should watch, just because it is good, and it has a positive feeling and message towards to it. And yeah, that's basically all I have to say about this movie. Let me know what you guys think. I highly recommend you guys watch it, and if you have seen it, give me your thoughts, your opinions. Let's have a discussion on it. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.